In this module, we're going to talk about the DDL statement, which is create the table. And we're going to do a simple base of the table, which I'm going to show you how we can create a simple base of table and how we can access that table from different views. But before we going to table and do a DDL statement, which is create table, we're going to look at all possible DDL statement that we can do in the Oracle database. And those DDL statements like creating object in database, such as table, view, sequence, index, and synonym. In this module only, we're going to talk about the table. Let's create a basic table right here. Create table test. Element is a column of a table and data type of that one number. We did not specify any specific size. Number is only data type that we not have to specify the size of it. However, we have the right to specify the size too. In this example, I accessing this resources from two different user. Let's say show user, and you're going to see that the show user is DE54A01. If I'm going to this connection and I ask you show user, it's going to tell me that DEA45A25. Let's create an object in DEA45A01 and try to access that object from DEA45A25. Let's create a table. What I'm going to do, I'm going to populate the table right here by using the insert statement, the DML that already we spoke about, the DML, and inserting the table to row to that table. And as you're going to see, we're going to insert row to table and 51 row inserted to table. If I'm going to asking select asterisk from test and then execute that one, you're going to see I have 51 row. Well, I may go to this user, and if I asking select DE45A01.test and try to execute this statement, let's see, select asterisk from DE45A01.test, which is the first one is DE45 is a schema object, which is this user right here, and table test is the object that we're creating in DE54A01, and we try to access it. And as a result, you're going to say table or view doesn't exist because we don't have the privilege to access this table. But if I'm going to execute the same SQL statement right here, I copy this one and I copy this one right here, it doesn't work. But if I bring it right here, execute it, and you're going to see that it's going to work. And this one show that the DE45A01 is the object, is the schema, and the test is the object. Now, how I can make it possible that this user can access that one? If you remember the commit and rollback that we spoke in the previous module, now it's make it easier for us to commit this transaction, the row that we inserting into the table DE45A01, and that commit transaction could be a grant access to this user, grant access to test to DE45A25. So we're going to write this command, and the command that we executing grant select on test to DE45A25, grant succeeded. Now if I'm going and executing this command and now executing, you're going to see that I have access to 51 row in this table in the user ID DE45A25. Now, so you know this is really the DML that we spoke it previously, now using that one. And by doing a DCL right here, granting access to DE45A25, in fact, we commit our transaction that we had it right here. We commit our transaction 51 row 2. The next command is just removing the table test. So easily by executing this command, drop table test, it's going to remove the table test from our account and it's gone for the good. Now, if I attempting to access that table from DE45A25, it's going to tell us the table is not exist, no longer exist. Now let's do a simple test and then I'm going to this topic and go in much more detail about how to create table. I'm going to recreate the table again. Now let's see, is the table is accessible right here? No. So when I create a table and I'm providing the grant access, grant on select on test to DE45A25, which is this user right here, when the table dropped, the access privilege on that table also dropped from the area which is allocated for DE45A25. So DE45A25 no longer have the grant privilege when the table dropped. Let's go back and talk about how we can create different type of table. Here are the steps that we're going to follow up. First, there is a naming rule when you try to create a table, and I'll let you to read it, but the table should be any table name should not be more than 30 character, and it should be started A to Z or any of these characters that you're going to see right here, and much more. I'll let you to read it. Already we saw how we can create a table and how we can access another user table and what is the default option. The syntax for creating table is as follow: create table, schema name table. The schema name is optional. As you see that in the example that we create the table, we just use the test. We didn't use DE45A01.test. That's optional. And then we specify a single column, but we can do it with multiple columns. And as you're going to see right here in this demo, database is full of different objects that exist in Oracle data. Well, we may create a table and specifying a default value for a column. What I mean by default value? In our example, we can put default, I would like to be 1. I mean, because it is number, the default could be 1. And it mean if the user when try to insert value in the table and do not provide a proper value, by default put on that field 1. But let's look at a good example, because our table always has one column and without inserting a value we cannot see that column. So it is much more makes sense if we have more than one column in the table. Look at this example. We can say hire date, and date of the default gonna be system date. So when I creating in this example, as you gonna see right here in this example, when I create a table, table ID is number, the size of that one 8. As you gonna see in this example, we specify the size of ID, and hiring date is date default sys date. It means if I put an ID and I do not provide any value for hiring date field, automatically replace that field with the system current date. In our example, we create a table with only a single column. Now in this example, we're creating the table with multiple columns. Department number is data type is number, the size of that one 2, separate that one with the comma. Department name varchar 14 and location is varchar 13, each of the fields separated by a comma. That's the format. And create date is default date format, which is the default sys date. And when I finish everything, then I have to put a semicolon. So this parenthesis right here start with this parenthesis right here. So this is open parenthesis, this is end of the parenthesis, and this is the semicolon, which is the end of create. So without putting the terminate or semicolon, it means still you didn't create the table. When you do this one and executing, you're going to create for us a department such as table, DPT. Since we have a department DPT on our database, we'll rename this table to DPT2. for example. So we're going to rename this one to DEPT2, and we create this table from Oracle in Oracle database in one of our users. This user, for example, at this time I create in DE45, and if I describe DEPT2, you're going to see that we did not specify any primary key or anything, but easily you can see that we're creating let me shrink the size of this screen. Is off of a screen and you're not going to see everything. So as you're going to see right here, if I list, you're going to see my table that we're creating, and here is the data type of each of these fields that we created. Here is the column name, you cannot see in the screen, and here is the data type of that one. So let me expand it so you can see the data type of it. Let's put it describe DEPT2, and you're going to see the number 2, 14, 13 and date data type generated. Well, we are talking about the data type. What is date? We have this many data type in Oracle database, and they all start from varchar to char. I'm going to talk about couple of those and let you to read from your book the rest. Varchar2 is a variable links character data, and it is resizable. For example, if I naming a field name is varchar 100 and only I using the first 5 digits of that 100, the remainder of those 95 digits release to Oracle database, and it is a variable. It is a variant size of the data type. We recommend you that you mostly use varchar2 for your variant size data type. Char is a fixed size of data type character. This one can go to the 4000 byte. This one or let's say 4000 character varchar can maximum go, and this one is almost similar, a little bit less. The number is that if for example if I have putting right here 2.2 or 3.2, it means that I can put a number of size 3.2, which is mean a number like this one, for example 2.000. so that means 5 digit. I'm going for P, I'm going to put 5, and for this one I'm going to put for example 3. Mean total I have 5 digit, which 3 digit of that one is fraction. Date already you know. Long is data type, which is can go the size of it up to the 2 GB, and it is a old data type for binary format that Oracle used that one. And long, as we said, it is the longest that we have up to Oracle 8, but from Oracle 9, I think Oracle 7, Oracle 8 and 9, they change it. They come up with the concept of the blob, bfile, and raw ID and bfile. These are also another data type. And also we have raw, which is also a binary data type. blob is 4 GB, and also we have bfile, which is this one also 4 GB. But the good point about this data type and this data type is they are binary data type. It is, let's say, binary, what the combination of 1 and 0001, the binary data type. This is again is raw data type, and it is binary data type. CLOB is character lob, and character string go up to the 4 GB. So this data type, this CLOB, blob, bfile, they are new data type that added Oracle add this type of data types to Oracle engine after Oracle 8. The another data type we have date time data type. Old format of the date only we had date data type, but the date data type since Oracle version 9 it changed it to 3 more data type. One of them is timestamp, one of them interval year to month, and interval day to the second. These are 3 more data type that we're going to talk much more detail about it later. The next option, we're going to talk about the constraint, overview of the constraint, null, unique, primary key,